Hello, eighth grade. It is Tuesday, August 31st, August 31st. And here is your assignment explanation video of what we're doing today. Okay, so essentially to make things super easy for you, we are going to be making a chart. Okay, and we're going to be charting four things or two things, depending on how you look at it. We're charting the British strengths and weaknesses, and we're charting the Americans' strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to make a chart of just the British and add strengths and weaknesses all together, American strengths and weaknesses all together, or you're going to do something more like British strengths and then maybe below it British weaknesses, American strengths, American weaknesses. So you can see how we might have two columns or two charts, or we could have four depending on how you want to break it down, and I'm good with either way. Okay, so let's look at the actual assignment and where we're going to be getting this information from. Okay. The first source we're going to use here says right here, step one, British and American strengths and weaknesses, and that's going to be this link right here, and you can see how it's broken down. These are the Americans' weaknesses, and I noted some of them. So all we want to do is put that into our chart that we're making. Again, if you're making just an all Americans with weaknesses and strengths combined, okay. If you're making an Americans with the weaknesses and then the strengths below it, that's okay too. But here's some American weaknesses, and here's some of the American strengths, because I know we haven't talked about it too much, but the Americans actually did have a number of strengths that ultimately helped them win the revolution, obviously, but they also do have many, many weaknesses. Okay. When you scroll down, then it goes to the British side. Here's the British strengths. Read through it. I did not take any notes on this one. Sorry, guys. You'll take down a list of the British strengths. And then, believe it or not, they actually had some weaknesses too. So we want to make a note of some of the British weaknesses as well. Okay, so that's just to get the chart kind of started. Americans' strengths, weaknesses, British strengths, weaknesses. Once we've read through these two articles, we're going to move over to step two. And it says we're going to use these two links just to see if there's anything else we can add to our chart. So I'll go to this one first. It's the British. And it lists some more advantages and it lists some more disadvantages. Now, if you've already added these from the last article, there's no need to add them again. But if it added anything new or gave a little bit more detail about one from the last article, we want to add any new detail, and we definitely want to add any new advantages or disadvantages. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing. Here's an American one. If it already said it in the last article for the Americans, we don't need to write it. But if it did go into more detail or listed any new ones, we want to put that onto our chart. Okay, sorry about that. Lastly, step three, our video over advantages and disadvantages. That is this link right here. It's about 12 minutes, but I really like this video. I mean, I don't pick random videos. I pick them on purpose that I think are easy to understand. Let me fast forward here. Okay, so what it's going to do is this video, it's going to go through a number of topics, okay? And then it's going to say how the British were, or what the British Army was like. And it's going to show you what the Continental Army was like. So let me just play it and be quiet and you can see.
Well trained. They've also hired people called Hessians. Hesse, H-E-S-S-E, is a place in Germany where the local leaders will rent out people in their local area to wealthy nations to use as soldiers. The Hessians are tough fighters. They are cold-blooded killers in a lot of ways. The Americans are very afraid of these Hessian people because they fight for a living. that's what they've been, is a big motivator for us.
Okay, so I fast forward there again. You can add any of these. These would be a strength of the British Army is that it was large and well trained. Another strength of the British Army is they hired Hessian soldiers to do some of their fighting for them. Okay. This looks like an American weakness is that the whole Continental Army was basically volunteers. It's just whoever showed up. But an American strength is they were highly motivated in fighting for their independence. So again, it's going to go to a bunch of different categories. Let's see what the next category is here, guys. It's going to talk about the Navy, and it's going to list strengths and weaknesses. Strengths and weaknesses. You can just add it into your chart if you would like. Lastly, you know, I like this. Decorate it. Okay, if it looks something like this, maybe throw your Great Britain flag over on the Great Britain side of your chart, maybe draw a soldier, something. The American flag on the American side of your chart, just give it a little bit of pop, give it a little bit of appeal. But we should have a pretty good chart of strengths and weaknesses for the British and for the Americans as they get ready to get into the American Revolution, okay? Well, I thought I was going to be back today, Tuesday, but it was a no-go. Hoping for Wednesday, but who knows? So whenever we get back, I look forward to seeing you, and let me know if you have any questions via the Remind app, or email will also work as well.